Quorum is established. We are in session. For the edification of everybody here, we will, I'll call you forward with your sponsoring senator. You come forward, you'll stand behind the presenting dais. Harrison, our photographer, will take a picture of you. If you have family with you that you'd like to come up, they can come at that time. Take a picture, you'll present, the senator will present, you'll present. When you're done for sponsoring senators, go over and talk to Mark. Mark has a paper for you to sign, and we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. Thank you for being here today, and in advance, thank you to everybody for your willingness to serve. We'll start off with Libby Youse. I don't know if I said that right. As a member of the Board of Nursing Home Administrators, Senator Laughlin.
Good morning. Thank you for hearing about Libby Youse. She actually lives right in my neighborhood, so she's great. Go ahead and vote for her. She's being nominated to be on the Board of Nursing Home Administrators. She has, for the past 7 years, been a leadership coach. Leadership coach for the Sinclair School of Nursing at the University of Missouri. Before that, she spent close to 20 years in administration roles within the nursing home and community care facilities in Shelbina, Paris, and Perry, Missouri. She provided oversight on and ensured quality nursing and medical care. She has a tremendous commitment and a passion for her job. I know this because every time we have a problem, I get a call and then I call her. And we figure out what to do and she helps take care of it. So there couldn't be a better person for this position.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here today. Questions for this nominee? Senator Mosley.
I was just wondering, did you all call each other to discuss your decor? That's all.
Yeah, be glad to add you on.
Thanks for the call. Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up, we will hear Andrea Jackson-Jennings as a member of the Bi-State Development Agency of the Missouri-Illinois Metropolitan District. Senator Koenig.
Thank you, members of the committee. Allow me to present Andrea Jackson to the Bi-State Agency between Missouri and Illinois. She is a professor at the University of Missouri St. Louis since 2022. She also is a managing director at Regional Response Team at St. Louis Community Foundation, and I think she'd do a great job.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here today. Questions, Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. I wanted to just go on record. It's always refreshing when we have an opportunity to have, and it's a couple of you in here, but some really good appointees. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I can't stress to the committee and anyone else listening how qualified and how exceptional of a leader you will be in this capacity. So clearly with support of the committee and the Senate, I am very, very confident you'll do a tremendous job. So thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Senator.
Further questions for this nominee? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Travis Freeman, a Republican, as a member of the Missouri State University Board of Governors. Also, Senator Koenig. Do you guys know you look alike? They didn't think that was funny. Senator Koenig, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, members of the committee, for allowing me to present Travis Freeman to the Missouri State University Board of Governors. He is a graduate. He works in wealth management, and I think he'd do a great job.
Thank you, Senator Koenig. Questions for Mr. Freeman? It's going to be a great
Really
hearing.
lively today.
Thank you. Got off easy. Thanks for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear Melissa Winston as a member of the Missouri State, the State Committee of Marital and Family Therapists. Senator Rizzo.
Oh, there we go. Hi, Mr. Chair, State Senator John Rizzo, 11th Senatorial District, and it's my honor to present Melissa Winston to the State Committee of Marital and Family Therapists. She's a therapist and owner of the 510 counseling group that provides therapy to individuals, couples, and families. She has 22 years of nonprofit leadership experience. She's trained in systemic community change methods and licensed as a marriage and family therapist, very dedicated to her professional community and has received numerous awards. I will say I have a good friend who works in this field, and I don't know what they do with their people, but they have a very tight-knit group in the marriage and family therapists, and I received at least 4 or 5 calls about how outstanding she is. And when we did our due diligence, we had literally nobody that didn't speak glowingly of Melissa. So it is my honor and privilege to present her, and I know she's going to do a great job.
Thank you, Senator Rizzo. Questions for this nominee? Seeing none. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Next up, we will hear Craig Jones, a Republican, as a member of the Elevator Safety Board. Senator Crawford.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me to be here before you this morning to present Mr. Craig Jones from Brighton, Missouri for the Elevator Safety Board. Mr. Jones has a wealth of knowledge in all things elevator. He's manufactured them, he's designed them, he's developed them, and in addition, he's trained and managed installers and field reps. So I can't think of any better person that knows all things elevator to be on the Elevator Safety Board, and it's my privilege this morning to sponsor him.
Senator Laughlin.
So we need you here.
Excuse me? Oh, yes.
Can we just put you on retainer, or how's that work?
Because we have an elevator that gets stuck every once in a while, and I won't get on it.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to ask Gus Guatemuz, who's in the back. He's
Oh,
the
okay.
Deputy Chief Elevator Inspector, so if you need something
Okay,
to happen in that,
get
he can
him
take
up
care of
here.
that, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Further questions for this nominee? Saying none. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Phyllis Chase, a Democrat, as a member of the University of Central Missouri Board of Governors, assuming that Senator Arthur is on her way down. Let's see here. Let's go to Hough. Jane Earnhart, as a member of the Missouri Board of Architects, Professional Engineers, Professional Land Surveyors, and Professional Landscape Architects. Senator Hough.
Assuming this is going to go well. Everything else in the Senate does. Thanks, Harrison. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring before you for your consideration for the appointment to the professional engineers, professional land surveyors, and professional landscape architects, Ms. Jane Earnhart. And I can attest to the credentials that she has and carries and has had professionally for a number of years in and around the Springfield community. I think she will be a good asset for the state in this role.
Thank you, Senator. Questions for Ms. Earnhart? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members.
Sorry you have to have him as your senator. Now we will hear Phyllis Chase, a Democrat, as a member of the University of Central Missouri Board of Governors. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I am so honored to present Dr. Phyllis Chase for her appointment to the University of Central Missouri Board of Governors. Throughout her 30-plus years in education, Dr. Chase has served as a teacher, professor, guidance counselor, director, assistant superintendent, could probably add to that list nurse at one point, depending on the situation. She's worked with teachers, students, and administrators. She's developed curriculum, oversaw large district budgets and personnel, coordinated major initiatives and programs across school districts. She's created accountability systems and much more. On top of that, Dr. Chase has served in substantial roles in districts across the region, in Omaha and Topeka, and Missouri, from Kansas City, Springfield, Columbia, and most recently, North Kansas City. Her experience alone makes her an ideal candidate, but Dr. Chase also brings with her strong leadership that helps her stand out. She believes in servant leadership, which, in a few words, prioritizes the growth, well-being, and empowerment of employees. In Dr. Chase's case, she wants to empower teachers. As a former educator, I've experienced firsthand how that relationship between administration and teachers can mean the difference between a school's success and failure. I have no doubt that Dr. Chase will not only provide UCM with strong leadership, but she can also provide the university with a key perspective during a critical time in the teaching profession. And her educational expertise will assist in leading the university and supporting our teacher prep program. So thank you for your consideration, and I urge you to support this wonderful, wonderful candidate.
Thank you, Senator Arthur. Senator Esslinger.
I just want to appreciate your willingness to serve. Of course, you and I have both worked in many education communities across our state for several years. I am very, very thrilled to see you take this opportunity, and look forward to what you're going to be able to do there, just as you've done across our state for many years. Thank you, Dr. Chase.
Dr. Chase, remind me when you were in Columbia.
2003 through 2008.
Okay. So I was out of high school at that point, but just barely.
Rockbridge.
Rockbridge. Graduated from Rockbridge in 2001. Yeah, so. Yeah. Further questions for Dr. Chase? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Tammy Thompson as a member of the State Board of Pharmacy. Senator Luetkemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Tony Luetkemeyer, representing the 34th Senatorial District, here today to introduce my constituent, Tammy Thompson. Ms. Thompson was appointed to the Board of Pharmacy by the governor. She graduated from the University of Missouri, Kansas City with a bachelor's degree in science in pharmaceutical studies. Ms. Thompson has worked in the pharmaceutical industry since 1993 and is a licensed pharmacist in both Missouri and Kansas. And I'm very supportive of her nomination. In addition to being an accomplished professional, she's also a friend of mine and would ask the committee to support her nomination.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here today. Questions for Ms. Thompson?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Moon.
Good morning, Ms. Thompson. I didn't get to talk to you before today, and this may not be a question you can answer today, but I'd like to have conversations, if you're willing, with regard to pharmacy benefit managers. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes, I work for one.
Do you? Okay. Well, then it might be providential to have some conversation about those just to get your input. And do you see them as a problem?
I would say there's some problems in healthcare in general.
Uh-huh.
Probably need to have conversations between.
Okay. How do you see from your view, you work for one, you say, how does that impact consumer cost?
Consumer costs, I'm not really privy to all that information because I'm
Okay.
a pharmacist. And,
Right. Okay,
the
gotcha.
The pharmacy benefit manager is pretty large.
Okay.
But they do work, I mean, if they're in business to make money, but they
Certainly.
do strive to make costs lower for patients.
Yeah.
I see
Well,
that on a regular basis.
this may not be under your control, and I'm not sure exactly how the board works that you're going to be part of. However, talking to independent pharmacies, especially the smaller guys, they're having a difficult time because they can't predict their costs until after the sale of the medication, and sometimes they're being hit with additional cost on top of that. So there's a lot of problems with at least the smaller guys. So just want to bring that to your attention. Hopefully that will be something you'll keep in mind.
Yeah, fully aware of that. Working
Yeah.
through pharmacy school,
Gotcha.
I worked for an independent the entire time, so I understand and have friends that have owned their own businesses. So
Right.
I completely understand the problem with independent pharmacies and the struggles that they have. Being from Kansas City, there's very few left in the area, and it's disappointing that they kind of gone away. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely aware of that situation, and being part of the board for the last because I got appointed when you were out of session. I've been part of some of the meetings, and we're very cognizant of what rules could, how they could affect small business owners, even large corporations. It's something that's the way the makeup of the board, we're fully aware of that.
Yeah. And I regret having to ask this question without having to have had an opportunity in private, but because you worked for a PBM and now with a position potentially on the pharmacy board, do you see any conflict there?
No, because if there's anything that's involved in the company I work for, I'm not part of that agenda. It's left out of my agenda,
Okay.
and I leave the room.
All right. Thank you.
Further questions for Ms. Thompson? Seeing none, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Francis Slay, a Democrat, as a member of the State Highway and Transportation Commission. Senator May.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, I am Senator Carla May, representing the 4th Senatorial District. It is my pleasure today to introduce Mayor Francis Slay to the committee this morning as a nominee for the Missouri State Highways and Transportation Commission. Mayor Slay is a lifelong servant to the state of Missouri. Upon graduating from St. Louis University with his Juris Doctorate, Mayor Slay went to work as a law clerk for the Honorable Paula J. Simon, Eastern District Appeals Judge. Upon completing his clerkship, Mayor Slay went into private practice at a major St. Louis law firm to represent businesses in state and federal court. He argued cases dealing with business disputes, which range from breach of contract, fraud, and patent infringement. His first election was for the St. Louis Board of Aldermen in 1985, where he served as an alderman for the former 23rd Ward for 10 years. During this time, he was elected as the president of the Board of Aldermen in 1995 and then re-elected without opposition in 1999. Mayor Slay continued his public service after being elected St. Louis's mayor in 2001. As many of you know, Mayor Slay is the longest-serving mayor in St. Louis' long history. He left the mayor's office in 2017 after several career accomplishments, including the reconstruction of Busch Stadium, improving public safety, and innovating St. Louis public education. As a testament to the high level of service and innovation by the Slay administration, Downtown St. Louis Revitalization Project was the recipient of the Preserve America Presidential Award, which is the nation's highest honor for historical preservation. After his final term as the mayor of St. Louis, Mayor Slay returned to law and worked as counsel until February of 2022. Currently, Francis Slay is the executive director of the St. Louis Regional Crime Commission, a position he assumed in February of 2022. I am honored to bring Mayor Francis Slay before the committee, and I'm excited to recommend him as the nominee to the Missouri State Highways and Transportation Commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Slay, good to have you here. Questions for this nominee, Senator Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor, good to see you. One, congratulations. I've known you a long time. I think Senator May left out some really important things. You've been a great father to two kids I've known probably since we were teenagers. So I think this is a great opportunity for you, and I just appreciate the things you do that isn't put in your resume to produce just service in our community, our region, and thank you for just being a friend to a lot of people in this building and outside this building. So congratulations, and again, I appreciate your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Senator.
Mayor Slay, I'll ask a question that I'll ask of the other MoDOT nominee as well. Just give me a vision from your perspective. You have a different perspective than our other nominee today, different parts of the state, different sides of the state. Just give me a vision for what you think the next few years, the next maybe 5 years, looks like as it relates to the growth and continued strategic initiatives related to infrastructure in Missouri, which I know you and I and many others share a passion for.
Well, infrastructure is important to all of us. It's important to our economy, and it's important to getting people around our state, going from one place to the other. Safety is also a big part of that, and I think just in the limited time that I've met with the other commissioners, that's a big issue that's come up many times is safety, road safety. So those are things we'll be looking at. I can tell you, having been on the commission just one meeting now, I've got a lot to learn. I'm not going to be, I don't have any preconceived ideas about where we ought to go at this time. I'm learning a lot about the organization and looking forward to working with my colleagues, all of whom I think are very capable and competent and hardworking and respectable individuals, to make sure that we keep the organization and work closely with MoDOT to continue to improve not only the transportation infrastructure but also safety.
Great. Thank you. Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Next up, we will hear Robert Nodell as the Director of Department of Social Services. Senator Fitzwater.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Travis Fitzwater, 10th Senate District, proposing a couple appointees here today. One, my friend Robert Nodell, a native of Southeast Missouri, has led the Missouri Department of Social Services since October 2021. After 19 months as acting director, he was appointed by Missouri Governor Mike Parson to be full status director on June 2nd, 2023. Areas of focus for Director Nodell have included improving workforce compensation and aggressive recruitment and retention strategies that have successfully reduced vacancies and staff turnover. He has worked closely with Governor Parson and the General Assembly on historic pay increases for team members, shift differential increases for evening and overnight congregate care staff, and flexible workplace innovations. He has successfully worked to accelerate new technology projects to replace and upgrade antiquated system to more efficiently manage workloads and to better serve the over 2 million Missourians who utilize DSS programs. His priorities have included reforming Missouri's child welfare system, transformational changes to the Mo Health Net Medicaid program that are bending the cost curve to make the program fiscally sustainable, and improving training programs that make Missourians more self-sufficient and less reliant on assistant benefits. Director Nodell has focused on empowering frontline customer-serving DSS team members across our state, and on improving stakeholder relationships with partners and advocates. Director Nodell's career has included lengthy service to the state on the staffs of the Missouri General Assembly and the governor in budgetary, policy, and leadership roles. His areas of focus in the governor's office included healthcare, Medicaid, education, and rural development. He's a graduate of Southeast Missouri State University, and he lives in Holt Summit, the town my family and I live in, with his wife Mandy and daughter Sally. Glad to take any questions and give him a moment to tell you about himself.
Thank you, Senator. Questions for this nominee, Senator Williams?
Really quick, I just want to say, Director, our office had a really good opportunity to work with you and your team, and in a short period of time you've been in this capacity, they've been very responsive. I think you guys done a tremendous job addressing the needs of our office and questions constituents have. So I'm in full support of you, just because, again, you've done such a tremendous job engaging with our office, and I'm confident you've done that with others. So, again, I appreciate your willingness to serve, and I hope the committee agrees.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Bean.
Good morning. Really appreciate you being here, and I'm just going to echo the comments of Senator Williams. Thank you for everything you do. You know, anytime we've had a need, you've been right there, and citizens of the state are very lucky to have you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Further questions? Seeing none. Easy peasy. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Paula Nicholson, the Director of the Department of Health and Senior Services, also Senator Fitzwater.
Thank you again for the time to bring before the committee. Mr. Chair, Paula Nicholson. I'm State Senator Travis Fitzwater again, 10th Senate District, and glad to promote my constituent here who serves as the Director of the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services and has been functioning in that role as acting director since March 2022. Director Nicholson is responsible for the oversight and management of the department and the administration of its programs and services which protect the health and safety of Missourians. Serving the agency for more than 24 years, Nicholson has a distinguished career in public health and healthcare management. For most of her time with the department, she has been a leader in several program areas, including maternal child health, chronic disease prevention, and emergency preparedness and response. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Nicholson put her vast work experience to work as a reliable, calming, and realistic leader to implement game-changing solutions during COVID-19. Additionally, Nicholson serves as the Region 7 Director for the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials since March 2022. Region 7 includes representation from Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska, as well as serving as the past president. Director Nicholson has been focused in the first 2 years in this role on workforce pipeline, recruitment, and retention efforts across all titles in the fields of public health, oral health, behavioral health, and healthcare. as well as building infrastructure and public health inclusive of movement toward a renewed model for delivery public health services statewide and addressing Missouri's maternal mortality rates. Her vision for future efforts include further cultivating the state public health workforce, continuing workforce development efforts, enhancing data analysis and public visibility of useful data, and continue to tackle Missouri's drivers of mortality and morbidity. Director Nicholson and her husband are active in their community and church, rearing 3 children, all of whom reside in Missouri and are active in their respective communities and churches, as well as the schools of their 6 grandchildren. I'm happy to bring her here before you.
Great, thank you. Questions today for this nominee, Senator Brown.
Thank you. Congratulations, Director, and I appreciate your willingness to make yourself accessible and speak to me in my office prior to the hearing. As I mentioned, I had a few concerns that I had brought to you that we had discussed. There were previously regulations regarding communicable diseases that allowed local health directors to essentially write laws. This, as we discussed in the Robinson versus DHSS case, was ruled unconstitutional. There was a motion to intervene, which was appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court, and eventually the case was voluntarily dismissed. Those regulations that were stricken, from my understanding, are still stricken. Is that the case currently?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And do you have any intentions whatsoever to make any effort to resurrect this power for local health directors?
We do not.
Okay. In the case of St. Louis County, we had rules on everything from how many people you could have in your house to mask mandates to rules for entire political subdivisions, closing entire classifications of businesses. These weren't done through the local legislative process. It was done through power claimed to be granted to these authorities through these regulations. Given that these regulations, you say, are terminated, that they would no longer be able to do this, correct?
So, first of all, I'm not an attorney, Senator, so let me explain it in layman's terms that I understand. What you didn't mention in there that also occurred was that during the pendency of Robinson, the legislature passed 2 pieces of legislation, 192-300, which indicates that the local jurisdictions, I believe it says county commissioners and county boards of health, can pass appropriate orders, regulations, etc. I understand that it has to be read in collaboration or in conjunction with 67-265, which was also passed by this legislature, which basically says that the local government or the local public health agency during an emergency can pass an ordinance that restricts schools, businesses, I think it says, other entities up to 30 days in a Chapter 44 declared emergency. But the local governing entity can at any point rescind that order, or if it's not an emergency and the local public health can declare it up to 21 days. Again, the local jurisdiction can rescind that. So as I understand it, the local entity can have specific orders in place as long as they are not in contradiction with 67-265.
So that would be through the local legislative body, though. That wouldn't be just one health official acting independently due to power granted them by the regulations that were stricken, correct?
Well, 67-265 would allow the local health authority to do that as long as the governing entity locally agreed and didn't rescind it.
Okay, so you couldn't have a contradiction, whereas in the case of in St. Louis, you had the local legislative body that was in opposition to the person that was writing these rules.
I'm sorry, but not following your question.
No, that's okay. Do your agency's regulations, do they allow a person in your position to cancel or modify any rules issued by a local medical director?
No, we have no authority specifically over local public health agencies.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions? Senator Esslinger, then
Yeah,
Senator Bean.
I just quickly wanted to, one, fantastic job. I know that what you've been doing for the last few years has been just a horrendous effort. And I can just share one experience where just recently you were able to help us in my district with providing quality services and to sustain services at one of my local hospitals and not have any interruption because of the effectiveness of your staff and yourself. So I just appreciate that, and thank you so very much. Look forward to seeing you lead the helm longer and longer. So thank you.
I just want to say the same thing that Senator Esslinger did. I know you helped us out with an issue in my district as well, and thank you very much. And I also want to thank your focus on workforce development, especially in the healthcare arena. And like I say, just appreciate everything you've done. So thank you for being here and your willingness to serve. Thank you.
Further questions for the nominee? Seeing none. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Courtney Owens as a member of the Missouri State Board of Nursing. Senator Esslinger.
Good morning, Chairman Rowden. And for the record, Senator Carla Esslinger, representing the 33rd Senatorial District. Today, I have with me Courtney Owens, Chief Nursing Officer at Texas County Memorial Hospital. Traveling up with Courtney to Jeff City today is her husband, Kenny, and son, Seth. Courtney has been a nurse for 20 years and has held a variety of positions for different organizations, including Texas County Memorial Hospital, Mercy, and Home Health of the Ozarks. Her numerous experience at every level of nursing make her a perfect candidate and voice on the Board of Nursing. And as you all know, as someone who represents a rural district, and I've always advocate for increased access and affordability to health care in our rural communities. And I know that Courtney will be bringing that same passion to the Board of Nursing. So with that, we'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here today. Questions for this nominee? Seeing none. Thank you. Next up, we will hear Darren Harris as a member of the State Board of Pharmacy. Senator Bean.
Members of the committee, Mr. Chairman, for the record, Jason Bean, State Senator from the 25th District. I'm happy to present to you for consideration the governor's appointment of one of my constituents, Mr. Darren Harris from Dunklin County, to the State Board of Pharmacy. Mr. Harris has served as owner and pharmacist at Harris Pharmacy in Kennett since 1996. He is a member of the Missouri Pharmacy Association and National Community Pharmacist Association. Darren is also a board member for the Dunklin County Health Board and current president of the Kennett Memorial Airport Board. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy from the University of Missouri, Kansas City School of Pharmacy. I've known Mr. Harris my whole life. As I said in the chamber, I say Mr. because he is older than me. But he and his family give so much back to the community. It's really amazing. I will tell you that on numerous times, Mr. Harris has gotten out of bed and gone and filled a prescription for people that weren't even his customers. So that says a lot about him. I know this is a little bit odd, but I think the committee should know one thing about Mr. Harris. In the late summer, through the fall, through the winter, January, never in February, Mr. Harris spends a lot of time in Texas. And I think he might need to explain to the committee just what's going on there. So.
Senator, that sounds a little, nominate sounds a little suspect. Would you like to explain yourself?
So since 1977, I've been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm in mourning right now. I almost didn't make it today because I was such sadness
Yeah.
last weekend, but that's why I'm in Texas, no other reason.
So if you, if there happened to be Super Bowl next year that included the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys, where would your allegiances be?
Respectfully declined to answer that question.
As long as you're not rooting for a Jayhawk, I'm going to be okay for now, anyway.
Never.
Further questions for Mr. Harris? Seeing none. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we'll hear Mike Lira, Republican, as the State Supervisor for the Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Control. Senator Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the committee. It's my honor to present Michael A. Lear for the State Supervisor Division of Alcohol and Tobacco and Control. Mr. Lear was born and raised in St. Louis. He was a registered investment advisor since 1989. He served 8 years in the Missouri House in the 96th District, served on the Moses Board from 2011 to 2016 as the Vice Chair, appointed to the Chair of the Gaming Commission in 2019 until July of 23, and he was appointed to the Division of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Control in July of 2017. And we're open to any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Representative, good to see you. Mike, whatever your name is, Mr. Lira. Questions for this nominee, Senator Rizzo.
First of all, congratulations and thank you for serving. I will say, on a serious note, I am grateful that people like you and former Senator Hageman, who will be coming up here in a minute, and former Mayor Slay, and some of the people who I know have worked in elected position are willing to do some of these jobs. I think sometimes we have a real disconnect between the bureaucracy and what we do, and I think that you guys serve as outstanding translators as to the things that can
in the construction industry, starting as a draftsman, and is currently the construction code inspector supervisor for the city of Kansas City, specializing in large-scale commercial construction of elevators. It's a passion of his and very complex work, I would assume. Mr. Chairman, you'll be interested to know that I at least got him to say that he was a Tiger fan, although I'm not sure I believe him, but he is, in fact, a Chiefs fan. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
Thank you, Senator. Questions for this nominee? Senator Laughlin.
Have you ridden on that elevator out there on the right? Yes, as long as I've been here, it's been. Don't ride on that thing. Fix that for us, would you? Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Dan Hageman, Republican, I think, as a member of the State Highway and Transportation Commission. Senator Black.
That was not underneath your breath, Senator. Rusty Black, the current senator from Northwest Missouri. It's a privilege to be able to recognize what some of you give me trouble about is my twin. When you say that, it makes me feel better than him, because he knows that I'm about 3 years older than what he is, so at least it helps me a little bit. I do have a couple things we're going to go through, but it's not going to be real valuable. On my list, experience, education, leadership experience, and skills. Unfortunately, that's not going to be what we discuss. I did show up. And at Dorman, I used Senator Hageman official dress for the first 4 months I was here, a blue blazer and khaki pants, and normally light blue shirt, and not a real wild tie. I do want you to know, Senator Hageman, I worked because I knew there's no way in the world would you wear anything that looked like this with a pink shirt today, so we wouldn't look the same, but it would be very good. I'll go through one more little thing. Most of you on the committee don't know. I'm sorry for Senator Brown. You don't maybe know why this banner is going back and forth. Both of us were raised in the same county. There's probably many of you that don't realize that. He is from the cultural center of Andrew County, Cosby, Missouri. And I am from the Wild Wild West of Andrew County. His family, including him, would refer to me as a Zook. That's Amazonia. That's about as close. Matter of fact, we farmed on the Nottoway River in Uncle Ari's. About as far west as you can possibly go. So that explains to you folks why there's intelligence, culture, grace sitting to my right. Because as we know, as we move across the state, always the east side of anything's better. Remember, I went to MU and listened to those St. Louis people. And as you move west across any jurisdiction, it gets worse. So the one skill on here, and then I will be quiet. The one skill on here that's not on my list that all of us need to know, everybody listening needs to know, MoDOT needs to know this. The one great thing about Senator Hageman, for the few of us that still realize what that means, Senator Dan Hageman grew up on a dairy farm. That's 365 times a year times 2. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I knew his dad. There was no excuse for not being there, and it was easily popped out of bed when it became time. So his work ethic, without a doubt, growing up in that situation, at least bypasses one of us Zooks, because we raise few cows
and beans and corn. So with that, I would answer any questions.
I don't even know where to start. Welcome back, Senator. I'll open up the floor. Senator Luchtenmeyer.
Commissioner now, thank you for being here. I was really surprised when I saw the governor's press release come out. It says you live in St. Joseph, Missouri, and I didn't realize there was a portion of the city limits of St. Joseph, Missouri that did not sit in my Senate district. So you have to educate me. There's a portion that goes up to Andrew County.
It's just a mail-in address. I'm still from Cosby.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I got very excited that we were going to be. I was going to be your sponsoring senator.
Move out of Andrew County. Southern Andrew County has some St. Joseph mail-in addresses.
Well, first of all, of the litany of different things that Senator Black mentioned about your background, the one that first comes to mind, as somebody who knows you as a friend, but also as a former colleague here in the Senate, is statesman. And, a lot of the times we see things that happen in the building that are not reflective of statesmanship. And you were one of those people that in everything you did, every deed, every action you did, and you had a very tough job for the 4 years that you and I served together because you were the appropriations chairman, and that is a very difficult job. And you were a statesman and a gentleman to every person, regardless of party, regardless of a particular faction within our own Republican caucus. And you're really the type of person that should be emulated. I'm so excited that you're willing to continue serving in state government because we do need more people like you. So thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator, I'll give you the same opportunity that I gave Mayor Slay regarding just your view of transportation infrastructure over the next 5 years or so, and especially from your perspective, which obviously is a little bit different than Mayor Slay's.
You bet. In coming from the great northwest part of the state, I have a little bit more of a rural perspective of the needs for our transportation infrastructure. I am very appreciative of the General Assembly in addressing those needs. You've stepped up and given some money to MoDOT to address the rural roads the past couple of years. You address the transportation infrastructure with general revenue funds to accomplish some great needed goals out there, and I appreciate that. I want to honor those commitments that the General Assembly has set forth and the trust that you put into the Department of Transportation and continue and make sure that we honor those accomplishments that we've achieved already and be true to what your promise is. We need to take into consideration the rural roads, but we also need to accomplish the I-70, which you've tasked us with doing and getting that, moving that forward, and it seems like we're moving forward on that already. I think we'll address it soon. And moving that forward, that economic driver in the state of Missouri of St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, St. Joe, Cape Girardeau, all our economic drivers got to be taken into consideration as well. And we've got to address those needs and keep our infrastructure up.
First, thank you for serving on this. I'll be brief. I'd like to echo the sentiments of Senator Luchtenmeyer and also just say, between you two and my good friend Pat Conway, who was also from the Great Northwest, I don't know what they have in the water up there, but we should figure out a way to get it throughout the rest of the state because you guys have produced just some really good elected officials that are honorable, good people who just want to make sure the state works and that people are respected and taken care of. So thank you for your willingness to serve. I agree with Senator Rowden. You guys have a mighty road ahead of you, not for lack of a pun, with rebuilding I-70 and everything else. But I will give kudos to the governor. He's put a really good team together. And I had a great conversation with Mayor Slay yesterday between you and him and Commissioner Erdman. And you guys have a really good group over there, and you're going to do a really good job. So thank you for your willingness to serve, and I look forward to traveling I-70 in the next 10 years or so and being completely redone and done well. So thank you.
Very kind. Thank you, Senator.
Further questions? Senator Esslinger.
Just very briefly, very nice to see you. We've missed you around here. So I'm thrilled that of course I enjoyed Senator Black, the Senator Commissioner Hageman. just really enjoyed working with you as a colleague, and I look forward to even more opportunities to work with you as you serve the commission. So,
Well, I'm happy to become a commissioner and continue my public service in the state, as well as I understand some other people in this room may become commissioners soon as well. So it's
yeah, I've heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor. Yeah.
It's good. It's good about that. And so
Thank you.
I've enjoyed your
Yes.
friendship through the years as
And
well.
I still owe you some fried mush.
Yeah,
So
we
we'll
do.
take care of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to have you on here, especially you all being from the great Northwest, me being from the greatest part of the state in Southeast Missouri. It's great that you understand how important our rural roads, our ports are, and really appreciate you being on here. But I do need to ask a favor.
Let's be
No, this is for you. You and I have many great discussions eating German food.
Yes.
And since you've left, I've never.
You
that
have?
has not
Oh,
happened.
my-
So
well,
it's time for us to.
We'll have to rectify that.
Yeah, that's right. If you could rectify that, I would appreciate that. But great to have you on here, and appreciate your friendship as well.
Just so you know, Commissioner, I've started referring to Columbia as the Great Midwest portion of the state. Further questions for this guy? Seeing none. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. Senator Black, we will hear Dennis Hicks, a Republican, as the Eastern District Commissioner of Livingston County.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Rusty Black, representing the 12th Senate District. This time will be a little different because he knows how to plug in my tractor and feed cows while I'm gone when it's 16 degrees below zero, so I'll be much nicer. I am pleased to sponsor the appointment of Dennis Hicks of Wheeling, Missouri as the Livingston County Eastern District Commissioner. Mr. Hicks was born and raised in Chillicothe and lived his entire life in Livingston County. He also was an FFA member at Chillicothe FFA. Mr. Hicks is married and has 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren. He graduated from Chillicothe High School in 1977 and shortly after began working for a local meat processing company. Mr. Hicks began a lifelong journey of entrepreneurship in '81 when he purchased and managed the local Sonic. Since then, he has owned and managed several successful businesses and farming concerns in and around the Chillicothe area. His main focus has been in the restaurant industry. He is a managing partner of Blackwater Restaurant and worked for 30 years for North Missouri Construction Company as a construction superintendent. In addition, Mr. Hicks owned and managed several residential duplexes in Chillicothe. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks for being here today. Mr. Hicks, questions for this nominee? Not appearing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Kevin Spaulding, a Republican, as a member of the Missouri Gaming Commission. Senator Trent.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, here today to present Mr. Kevin Spaulding, who's been nominated to serve as a member of the Missouri Gaming Commission. He has served his community for over 25 years as a law enforcement officer, entrepreneur, and public servant. He is someone I know who is truly dedicated to community service. I'm confident that he will be an asset to the commission and to our state, and appreciate the committee's consideration.
Thanks, Senator. Questions from Mr. Spaulding? Seeing none. Thank you. Thanks for your willingness to serve. J.R. Webb, as a member of the Missouri 911 Service Board, also Senator Trent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Here to present Mr. J.R. Webb, who has been nominated to serve as a member of the Missouri 911 Service Board. He has served his community for over 30 years in communications for law enforcement agencies, a part of the Springfield Greene County 911, with extensive experience on operations and modernization of the system around the state. I know he will be an outstanding asset to the board, and again, appreciate the committee's time and consideration.
Thank you, Senator. Questions for Mr. Webb? Seeing none. Thank you for being here. Next up, we will hear Hadley Oden as a student representative to the University of Central Missouri Board of Governors. Senator Brown.
Good afternoon, Senator Ben Brown from the 26th District. It is my pleasure to introduce Hadley Oden for appointment as student representative to the University of Central Missouri Board of Governors. She graduated with honors from Herman High School in 2022 and is currently pursuing a degree in criminal justice. She is a student ambassador for University of Central Missouri's Office of Admissions, a member of UCM Student Government Association, a former chair of SGA's Sustainability Committee, and a member of UCM's mock trial team. She has achieved many accolades that include being a recipient of the Randolph Putka Memorial Scholarship, Charles R. Hayes Memorial Scholarship, the Missouri A+ Scholarship, the UCM Red and Black Scholarship, the UCM Student Ambassador Scholarship, and the Sandra Temple and Ed M. Elliott Family Scholarship. That's a mouthful. She is also a recipient of the President's Award for Educational Excellence and the UCM Outstanding Leader Award, in addition to being named to the university's Dean's List. With that, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here today. Questions for Ms. Oden? Senator Rizzo.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on all of your accomplishments so early on in life. I see your family over there, and they're just beaming, and they should be, because putting together that type of resume as young as you are is very impressive. And I know you'll do a great job over there, but thank you for your willingness to do this, and I hope you serve in a great capacity over there, and you're going to do a fantastic job, and you guys should be very proud of her and all the stuff that she's done. I have 2 young daughters, and I hope one day they have a resume like that at your age. So thank you.
Have you ever met a guy named David Pierce?
I might have heard of him.
Okay.
Here and there.
Give me your thoughts on him.
I think he's just the greatest thing to walk this earth.
Okay. Well, it's high praise. That's high praise. Yeah.
I take back everything I just said. No,
Thank you. Further questions?
We're pretty lucky to have him. I got to walk around with him this morning. It was like walking around with a celebrity. Everybody knew.
He may not be. I don't know if he's close to Hageman status. Pretty close. I'm not sure if he's there, but he's close. Right underneath. One day, yeah. Any further questions? Seeing none. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Gregory Sachs, a Republican, as a member of the Elevator Safety Board. Senator McCreary.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's my great honor to present Mr. Gregory Sachs to you. He has been nominated to the Elevator Safety Board, and I can think of no one that would be better suited for this board than my constituent, Mr. Sachs. He is from Fenton, Missouri, and when I looked at his professional biography, he's pretty much been preparing to be on this board for his entire career. So, he understands elevators and elevator safety inside and out. He assisted FEMA during mass flooding and recovery efforts down in Hurricanes Katrina and Rita as well, which I think anybody that can work under that kind of intense pressure is somebody that we would want to be serving the state of Missouri. So it's my great honor to present to you Mr. Gregory Sachs, and I'm sure he is open to answering any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Questions for this nominee?
I will ride that elevator.
Yeah, go ride that elevator. Make sure you do that, yeah.
I knew I didn't have to.
We're going to need a full report, yeah. Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Ruby Trice as a member of the Behavioral Analyst Advisory Board. Also Senator McCreary.
Hello again. I have the great honor to present to you Dr. Ruby Trice. She is one of my constituents from Maryland Heights. She has been chosen by the governor's office to be a member of the Behavioral Analyst Advisory Board. Dr. Trice is an amazing woman. She has not only worked very, very hard through an agency, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, but in her life outside of work, she's very, very involved in the community and involved in helping folks mediate as well. So her bio is quite impressive, and she brought her fan club with her today. And one of the things I found out is a lot of her friends are retired, and Dr. Trice is not retired, but yet she's still willing to serve the state and make this work. So I mention that because I'm hoping to shame your friends into looking at boards and commission openings later, because I think they're equally qualified. So anyway, this is Dr. Ruby Trice, and I'm sure she's open to taking any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here, Ms. Trice. Questions for this nominee? Seeing none. Easy. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up, we will hear Jan or Jan? Jan Hearn as a member of the Mental Health Commission. Senator Carter.
Chairman, committeemen, I'm so grateful. It's a privilege to sit here next to Jan Hearn, who's been somebody who I've gotten to know pretty well the last few months. He has been a pillar in our community. He ran and was the CEO and president of Community Support Services. I think Senator O'Laughlin, this is the predecessor to the work that you saw being down there with the Community Resource Center. He is also a graduate of MSSU, Go Lions. And I just know that he's going to be somebody who's going to be really good on the board of mental health. And so I support his. I am out of breath. It's
all
a busy
good.
day. Just support his and endorse his being able to be appointed to that board. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Senator. Questions for Mr. Hearn? Seeing none. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And lastly, we will hear Michael Seibert, Republican, as a member of the Missouri Southern State University Board of Governors. Also Senator Carter. Sorry you had to be last. The best for last, that's right.
Again, this is Mike Seibert, and he has big shoes to fill. His predecessor was Ron Richard, so this is the appointee that will take up the mantle from Senator Ron Richard, who obviously many of you know. He has a passion for our community. He was the mayor of Joplin. He also is an MSSU graduate, so go Lions. And I just know he will do a really good job trying to fill those shoes of Ron Richard. They were good friends and neighbors, and so thank you for your support.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for being here, sir. Questions for this nominee? Nothing. Good luck. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to serve, and thank you for your patience. I would make a motion that we move into executive session. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. We are in executive session. I make a motion that we roll the nominees that you heard today into a slate for consideration on the Senate floor. Moved and seconded. Discussion on that motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We have a slate before us, and I would now move that slate be voted to pass out of this committee. Moved and seconded. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, Chris, call the roll.
Senator Rowden.
Aye. By a vote of 9-0, you have voted that slate do pass to the floor. I make a motion that we move out of executive session and adjourn. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. We're adjourned.
Coming out as far as